cars. We're going to let you guys explore the space a little bit, kind of see if we're getting any EMF spikes. And then I will follow up with Brian after he's spent like 4 or 5 minutes under the headphones to kind of see what he has going on, and then maybe recoup us, kind of depending on what's actually happening. So let's spread out a little bit.
All right, everybody, I got west. And remember, we had east mentioned. And I also got boat and pool. So, a lot of west stuff. So, I'm assuming there's some dead stuff. I'm guessing that dead. Shouldn't I be able to find what happened 100 years ago? Okay, no, it's a parking lot. Devious.
One last thing with your cam, you gotta pick up on shadows. It's not a ghost on the ground, it's you. The reason why is because the shadow is going to make it look like we are in front of the ground because it's an absence of light.
Yeah.
So if you go into a whole sciencey part of it, that's, again, if you see somebody laying on the ground, it's not a ghost. Just so you know. Debunking a lot of things ahead of time.
All right.
Shorter Ryan, what do we have going on with your list?
Basically, we got a lot about lying, we got a few things about boats, and we got a few things about high committing suicide. Nope, but I got war, bar, general, which is all from around that time-ish area where you can find the boats, the generals, the sea, general. That's some of the older stuff. I got lies, technically, currently. I just got a lot of lies. Lies and suicide. That's all I have recently.
The closest I got was a 1.8.
Ghosts don't stand still.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Right.
Call Ryan another minute or two before I recoup us, because he already has a few things that I'm like questioning. So let's see what he's got going on.
It seems like he's concentrating, listening hard.
And that's usually what happens with that device. You can't and that, like, that's not a thing for me. Like, I'm just wondering where that. Where does this come from? So not for me.
Yeah, like they always.
I got an ELD.
ELB.
No ELD.
Oh, ELD.
Yeah, no ELD.
So close with no cigar.
Yeah.
Again, I like it to be exact.
Yeah. I was getting excited there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was getting good stuff in that corner. Can I go there?
Yeah, there are people standing out there. I wonder if it's
Can we go there?
Anything, Rowan?
Lots of little like random figures, but I think it's just the signs or just shadows on
you have a lot of
branches.
depth going on here between the shed and the tree.
Yeah. The closest thing that I got to something like possibly anything was standing over there behind where Ryan was standing.
Okay.
Like in front of where the door is.
Okay.
in the cars, but I think it was probably just the balcony being in front of the door that made the 3 points.
Yeah, it's a good possibility. Again, more depth. Ryan, you got anything else? So I'm probably gonna wrap this all up. Jeff, anything else going on over there? Nothing?
Amy, Ryan, the word jump. Any of the words such as deceit, lie, or
Worry, anything? Nothing? All right, let's regroup.
All right, so should I stop the recording?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Belly level if you can. Other tours like to come down here, so yeah, you're doing the exact right thing. You want to get like a nice long view. right going down.
3.2.
Nice. What do we got going on?
I heard on the way here. I heard Pastor,
Okay.
Jesus, on your knees, hang. My name is Todd. Yeah.
That's very specific.
It is.
Todd.
I'm actually excited about On Your Knees. That's going to make a lot of sense here. Very, very
Is that,
soon.
is that a cemetery or something?
No, there's a
That
church
is
right
that is
there.
a road.
It's actually a courtyard,
Oh.
and it's right next to a cemetery.
Okay.
So, a graveyard.
Is that St. Michael's Road?
No, that is St. Philip's.
St. Philip.
Also,
This tour might be passing through us, so when we do get another tour that passes through
Sure.
us,
We'll get
we'll
off
just
to the
let them
side.
kind of
Come on, Ryan, out of the way.
I have another 2 people.
Let me see what you got going on there.
I got Evan.
Go to the very top. I just want to see like the last 4 or 5 terms.
You getting any words out of me?
Got it. Okay.
And I have
No,
okay.
I'll tell you
Evan,
what, if it
and
says
Todd.
nerd,
Not Todd.
I'll be worried.
Okay. All right.
And those are people. So
Okay.
names to people not.
All right.
Names are the most important here.
So again, I will breeze through this one so we can get back to work. Let's get you turned all the way back up again in here. So you said you had a, what was that number again? 3.2?
Yeah, and then it went up to 4.9 or something before.
It's exciting while it's on that device, but when you're using the other one, it's more sensitive. I usually tell them to
4.3.
wait for an 8 because the lampposts around us will kind of give off that electric vibe, obviously. So I'm going to obviously write down the 4 points and anything higher than that, just because, again, that one's not as sensitive as the other. So welcome to Philadelphia Alley. So this is used to be called Jeweler's Alley. Every ghost tour comes down here. It's kind of a staple. This was actually one of the places I was going to be taking out of my routes just because it is a staple for all the other ghost tours, but this guy follows me around in all the other locations. So again, I decided why not start his origin story. So here's how this goes. We're all telling the same story. I'm just giving you a few extra details, obviously for Ryan's sake, for the advice that he's using. Let's get into it. A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. If you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl while we're here, it's not coincidence. It's part of his name. We get it all the time. So just kind of keep that in mind. So he moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancee, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a lot of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney helping her out with all of this cash that she just got, and the attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after Amanda's money. So he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. So he comes down here to Charleston from Rhode Island to prove that he's not after her money. He's going to start his own practice here. So, on his way into town, he had a coachman. The coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay here. So it's kind of like having a really bad Uber driver in today's world. So there was somebody walking by. The somebody walking by was named Ralph Isaacs. I stopped there because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. You were looking for the initials RI. That device, it was bought specifically for this location because I was hearing RI on regular spirit boxes here. I wanted to make sure. We've had it about half a dozen times whenever I brought up Ralph's name, including just one last week. So I was kind of like, okay, there's number 7. But back to Ralph. He tells Dr. Ladd, I know this guy, the coachman. He's going to try to kill you. Come with me. I got friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them. You'll be safe and good to go. Doc took him up on the offer. Now the two gents are friends. And Dr. Ladd, the longer he stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point. He's not after Amanda's money. He's making his own. She gets wind of this. She's coming down so they could be married. Dr. Ladd then became known as the Whistling Doctor. This is the reason why I hate this story. Every haunted city you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. Ours just happens to be a doctor. I'm going to get to that point, but let's talk about why we're in Doler's Alley.
And what year was this?
1780s.
Okay.
So
Well, I got
Dr.
the word
Ladd,
wind when you mentioned wind.
Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So they go see Richard III one night, and they're on their way home. They're arguing over the new actress they just saw. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph did not. The argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance. Back home in Rhode Island, it got really ugly, and they went their separate ways. But Ralph has friends around town. He goes to the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a you're a disgrace to society kind of thing. Doc saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Doler's Alley. Let's settle this. Keep in mind, this whole argument started over an actress. Kind of dumb and stupid. Anyway, the two gents came down back to back. They took their 10 paces away from each other. They turned. Doc points his gun in the air, shoots his one shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted the courage to show up. But Ralph has his one bullet still. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. See why I'm excited about on his knees?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. It's not coincidental that he heard that. So Doc didn't die. He fell to the ground. His friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. He dies 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to point out two things. It's 1786. Gunshot wounds are a lot different back then than they are now. So, also, he's a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself, but he failed. So, every tour that comes down here tells you to listen for the whistles. We do have Rowan's camera running, plus my voice recorder. If we're going to capture a disembodied whistle, it's going to be on one of those two devices. However, Ryan's device, I can't tell you how many times we've had the whistling part of a song and then the word doctor from a commercial come up immediately after. Happens dozens upon dozens of times that have been coming down here. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's another reason why I hate to let this place go because we get so much. Now, if you're going to try to actually try to capture the whistles on your own by walking all the way through here, using the voice recorders on your phone, just remember that every local knows the story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street is actually going to throw a whistle down the alley. We all do it. If I'm ever down here during the daytime, it's just something we do here in Charleston. So the next location, just so you know, it is actually based off of Pirates. I will explain that location once we get over there. But just know, I'm not going to go into the full detail of why we're going over to that next location because it does involve me getting thrown out of this location. So for the sake of time and for the sake of this, the age of our audience, I won't go into those semantics. But just know, my route used to go all the way through, but I got into a little trouble with tourism because I didn't know where I was supposed to be going. So I actually had to reroute, and I didn't even believe in the next story until somebody actually heard the name Anne on a spirit box before we left on the first night we were going to go over there. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be investigating, which is the female pirate, Anne Bonny. Somebody else, when we got over there, heard the number 300, and I didn't know what it meant, so I wrote it down. I looked into the research of that, and when I got back to the office, I found out that we were there on November 28th of 2020, my first time there, with a group, and Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720, the exact 300th anniversary of her pirate trial.
That's right.
So it was kind of a holy cow kind of moment, and it was also damn, I really didn't want to get into pirates because pirate stories come from pirate lore. So there's really no chance of proving them unless, of course, you read a lot of books. So we're gonna let them pass through, and we're just gonna follow them right back out, and we're gonna go right around the
The
corner.
guy who shot the doctor, do you know?
He died many years later after moving back to.
Wait, what was
I
their names?
want to say he went back to Virginia.
What
So
was their names?
he lived.
No justice for him, huh?
Well, I mean, he still went on to be a pretty successful attorney. I want to say he lived to be the age of 47, 48 years old, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I mean, they were in their early 20s at the time of the duel. So
nothing happened to him.
No.
So duels were
repercussions.
not illegal yet at
They
that
were.
point?
They were.
They
This was a
were.
hiding spot.
Okay.
So this just happened to be one of the spaces.
It's a pretty good hiding spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it
it was
is. I
also
mean-
walled off too. So there was a wall between us because this is where they used to keep the livestock for
Right.
the city. So it used to be called Cow Alley long before that. So yes, sir.
What were the first names of both of them again?
Ralph and Joseph. But yeah.
I have not done anything with
So,
Joseph or
so
Ralph.
they were not from here, but they came down here and they watched us play and they got upset and they
They
decided
both lived here.
they lived here but they also lived. They kind of had two places. They lived here and they also lived up there? Or?
No.
No, they were both down here.
Yeah, they
at
they
that
both
time.
moved here at one
Both
point. Ralph just lived here longer. Like he was here before the doctor. Dr. Ladd moved here from Rhode Island to Rivers Point to his fiance's.
Yeah.
But Ralph was already here.
Oh,
He was just here longer. So he ended up leaving the city probably a few years after to go back to wherever he was from. Because like I said, I want to say he's actually buried in Virginia. if I'm not mistaken.
he said that.
Do you know what happened to the woman? Amanda?
I don't even know the woman's last name.
Oh, okay.
I've dug and dug and dug. I don't know the name of the actress that they
Can't
fought
find
over.
out, yeah.
I even looked through all the playbills trying to figure out like who was in town during that time. I mean, we have dates. You know what I mean? So again, I've dug, can't find any of those finer details. The only thing that we know of is where the doctor and Ralph were buried.
Right.
So even Dr. Ladd's not buried here.
Wait,
He's
but do you
actually-
know the first name of the wife?
No, she's
Amanda.
Amanda.
So, but yeah, those finer details, again, I've read, I don't know how many different versions of the story that have been published, trying to figure out like who was who to what and where, how did they get here, so forth and so on. It's always about Dr. Ladd, Ralph Isaacs. That's it. Those are the only two. Yeah, exactly. There's even said that presidents even had duels down here. So they say that Andrew Jackson had a duel down here, but
Jackson's from isn't he from South Carolina?
Isn't he the guy that kept dueling and dueling and dueling?
Yeah, Andrew Jackson dueled a lot, I think.
yeah, but they also have to hide a lot of those things when it deals with any kind of presidential, elected candidate, so forth and so on. But if you actually walk through this alley, like in detail, like during the daytime, and move some of like the brush out of the way, you can actually see some of the gunshot wounds in the walls. Oh yeah, and they're at an angle. Like they're not like straight in. They're at an angle. So it's
He must have been drunk.
Yeah, bad shots.
no, most of the time, believe it or not, it wasn't always like bang bang. It was always like, I'm not shooting you. I'm just here. It always off to the side, off in the air, even into the ground. So this is actually one of my most favorite places in Charleston because it is so serene and it's very photogenic. If you look taking photos,
Yeah, this is kind of cool.
it's gorgeous down there.
Yeah, I probably do want to get a photo before we leave here.
219 called out. Locals know Motley Crue.
Motley Crue.
Yeah, Motley Crue, right?
Locals know Motley Crue!
That'd be cool.
I did hear Brown.
Did you?
But that was from a commercial.
Even still. You
John
still heard
Brown. John Brown.
Joseph.
What about John Brown?
I don't know.
No, not John. Oh, John Brown. That's
West Virginia.
radical abolitionist.
Yeah,
he was like
radical
a
abolitionist.
murdered 5 people in Massachusetts, I think.
That's why I brought him up.
And he had some kind of rebellion he was planning. Got
Civil
caught,
War
and
started.
tried as a traitor.
My neck of the
Yeah,
woods.
so
in the
War
South.
started here,
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
Actually,
technically
no, I think
related
In the
to
years
Civil
leading
War
up
and
to
also
the
Brown.
Civil War, he was like really, really against slavery to the point
once
where
you
he would
started
like
saying
start.
abolitionist, like I started to remember.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been consistently above 2.5 in this alley.
Okay. What do you say consistently? What are the numbers? Between what?
So 2.6
Whoa,
to
I got
4
widespread.
in that range.
Okay, so I can probably say that that's generally going to be coming off the land coast.
Okay. I know.
Probably not.
Okay, probably doesn't mean
specific.
anything.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Again, I usually wait for an 8 out of the other
Okay.
one, so and it's like way more sensitive. I don't know who Lynn is.
Lynn.
All right, let's go learn about pirates. You
We
guys
got,
ready?
we got
Let's go ahead.
Lynn.
We can go ahead and put a stop to that. That way we can actually walk through this, and then we're not going to. Gotcha. And again, that thing's it growls and does all kinds of things. I just turn the volume down because we don't need it. We just need the dictionary. But I do like the word pound, like you said. Definitely. Oh, it's more like British. I think it's. Now they're over there talking about that building over there with the crosses on it. We are too, but in a much different context. There's a lot here, so I'm going to really speed through this one so everybody can get to work. So the crosses are not crosses; those are earthquake bones. Nobody told you what those are yet. They're basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, you can tighten them, and it's supposed to stop the building from incurring any further damage. It's a great idea. It just doesn't work. So part of the reason why we're here is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston ever put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We're here simply because that building is something Anne Bonny would recognize because it was being built at the same time she came here to start her new life. So the building took 10 years to build.
Anne Bonny.
She's the pirate.
Does that sound like our government small building? 10 years?
Wasn't the woman
No, not
also,
at all.
wasn't the wife also named Anne?
No, Amanda.
And
Now, so our history begins in 1708. I will slow down on some of the twists so you guys can grab them because we are talking about a female pirate. You get the point.
Little unusual back then.
You got it. 1708, young lady moves here by the name of Anne Cormac. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. You guys with me so far? Okay, the three of them running away from her father's angry wife. How mad was the wife that she kicked him out of the country? He's gonna put it out there. Anyway, they landed in Georgetown. That's between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation up there, and Mom died pretty quick. That means Dad is now sending young Ann down here to sell things from the plantation to keep things afloat, hence the familiar building. So again, it is a 50-50 role that is here at the same time. We have other buildings around the area, just not now.
We got, there appears to be large some, there used to be old buildings right there. You can see the roof marks and another building right there.
So that is actually from a wall, believe it or not, that was leaning on that building. It is not a roof. So, back to Anne. So back home in Ireland, when she was a little girl, at the age of 7, 8, or 9 years old, remember the pirate war, not exactly. She killed a servant with a knife to the belly. So it's kind of giving you this young lady's mentality as we go through her history. Fast forward, the building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are starting to come through Charlestown. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love with one of these guys, and she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world during this time. First guy she fell in love with. I said first slowly because there's a handful. We're going to cover them all. First guy is James Bonney. You already see where this one's going. That's a different pirate name. Dad gets approved because he's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. Anne Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where her pirate name came from. However, James Bonny doesn't turn out to be the Captain Jack Sparrow type that she was actually hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer that makes him a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wants. She falls in love with again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham. Everybody calls him Calico Jack. This is the guy they based your Johnny Depp character off of. Based your one. Yeah, he's a real person. He has his own ship. He has his own crew. And wants to be part of the crew. He can't put a female on a pirate ship because it is indeed bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like the crew, then you can be part of the crew. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. She gets it, man's world. But we're pretty much all adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. So you can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's got to figure out that she's a girl. Yeah. So before she starts to show her pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. Have the baby here, come back later, we'll figure it out then. She goes and has that baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child, by the way. None of my research has ever discovered it. She also comes back dressed as a female. This makes Jack pretty angry. Now he's going to know he let a girl on a ship. To make him even more mad, she's going to go flirting with the pirate crew he just captured. They're down below deck. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the crew the Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like males on the same ship trying to be pirates. Now, with that whole scenario, the young lady she was flirting with turns out to be Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Anne and Mary became friends, maybe lovers, we're not really sure because of the time frame, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of Navy ships to come take them out. Rumor is Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with 1-bullet flintlocks. Obviously, they don't know how to use cannon jet. Now, obviously 2 ladies with 1-bullet guns cannot take on a whole fleet of Navy ships with cannons. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, Anne looks at her captain in the boat, Jack, and says, "I'm sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't be hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up on all of the communication devices that we're using tonight, just so you guys know. The judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly. He's already tried and hung Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't fight. They're dead and gone. 2 ladies go in front, reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves, and the judge doesn't care. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. We plead our bellies was the last thing they shouted because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. They're claiming to be pregnant, but they're really not. Now, they go to jail. Dad's still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne and brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. We're going to count Mary because we don't really know. She has 4 children, but dies at the age of 84. Very abrupt ending because we don't know anything truthful about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed died 5 months later in that Jamaican jail, whenever pirates die from, in a Jamaican jail. Now, as far as questions go, I'm not going to control the environment like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion. I'm just going to tell you guys what I left out of the story on purpose. There's like 3 things. I didn't tell you the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. The name of the ship that she joined with Calico Jack, the color of her hair, and the city she grew up in Ireland. So everything else is fair game. If you ask questions and you get answers, if I can prove it, we're going to count it.
One of their names is probably starts with a B, as I've been given the letter B, and it has to be initial.
Where did you get the letter B from? Did you get that over here?
Yep.
What would it say?
It just has the letter B on it.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it'll give us just a single letter. So it just kind of depends on
Bonnie is first.
Right, so we're definitely going to take the Bonnie out of that. All right, let's spread out. You guys know what to do.
Oh, I got an entire tray.
Whichever one start on.
The gold sticks are crazy.
It's on Amazon. Pirates thing.
TV show or
Yeah, it's a TV.
I've seen them all.
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
So, what could it possibly mean? I've already gotten okay once. So, okay is an overarching person here. There's a hole in the floor. Check it out.
Why? Because there's a hole in the door.
So,
There's a hole in this door.
Yeah, what about it?
That's creepy.
Okay.
Don't stand in front of it.
Why?
Because I think people stick guns and things through doors. I just don't.
Right, okay.
Not too comfortable. Oh, I got a 3.
So some random person's gonna do that? Yeah, okay.
3.3.
Side of the bushes.
Okay.
Normally with the EMF readers, it's normally like the back half that they get excited.
Okay.
There's nothing in there.
Regardless, it's been
Ryan, what else did you hear?
Are you okay?
Isn't it weird?
Again, they're not all speaking terms.
Yeah, but that's
So.
not even a term that was used back then anyway.
Got anything yet?
No.
I have found nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Didn't much anything.
The most this thing is picked up on are stop signs, which it seems to really think are people.
I got something they definitely didn't really have in our modern context stuff. Sick. They have like a towel.
She said I got one. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
You ever see the photo? The new one?
So again, but truly what I found is where these new instruments are, like on an oval. So when it gets close to the earth, in that oval is usually when we see the spike, which is closest to a new moon. So that's when we see the waning crescent moon actually notes more paranormal activity than anything. It's gonna be like
So which way is north?
Northeast. Does it say northeast?
No, it said northwest.
I thought it said east. Northwest. You're right. Northwest. Look northwest. It said north.
You got anything going on there, Jeff?
And I heard the letter B before. Yeah, it's really wanting us to look. It is popping now. Whoa! Yeah, no, this is the worst I've seen it go. Man.
That would make sense.
Alright, we're looking northwest.
Yeah, but we're getting now getting too close to the wires.
Yeah.
Hey, over here!
There's probably nothing.
I know. Oh, oh, Mommy! I got sofa! Yes!
That's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's nothing.
I know, but I'm saying this is hilarious. It's saying look that way. Get a sofa.
Northwest, there's a sofa.
Yeah.
Whoa, really? Where?
Sitting in the road.
I want to sit on that.
Guys, it's telling you to look northwest. It's a sofa.
Okay, where now?
Look, northwest. Then sofa.
Just getting ready to wrap it up. You had no other numbers?
This thing is asking for us to go that way. Get a sofa. And now it's worried. I don't know why. It's actually hilarious.
Is it cloudy?
No.
Weird it is. It's old. He's going to mock her.
It'll be in full bloom.
All right, so Ryan, you got anything else before I give the answers? Nothing. So again, he did hear the word baby, which could be relevant to the baby that was missing. However, we do get that word here a lot because it is kind of like a very darker story, probably not appropriate for some of the age group we have for across the street. So I'm not going to cover it unless, of course, I find something else and you guys will have a link. So
Letters.
keep that in mind.
Well, I got something relating to their letters.
One of the few pictures of Anne where you can actually find her where she has her shirt on. The reason why is she used to flash the person
Yeah,
that
I've
she
seen
just
that
shot.
picture online.
Yeah,
Does she have brown hair or red hair?
it's red. So,
I figured probably Bonnie and
From
Ireland.
Ireland, okay.
right, so big old trope of red hair, green eyes.
Mm.
Names of the parents, William Cormack, Mary Brennan. So no Caroline.
Brennan.
Sorry.
Brennan with B.
Yeah. Well, Bonnie, I'm going to take that more so, just because I knew the story was about. Mary Brennan was a servant for the Cormack family, so if you wanted to guess how Dad met Mom, you'd be correct. So I'd just like to point that out. It's just another 30-minute scandal we don't need to cover. She grew up in County Cork, so normally if we ask her what city she grew up in, we will hear the word county coming out of her spirit boxes. Let's see. How did Jack was named that? Because of the jackets that he wore. This is the guy they based the Johnny Depp character off of, in case you were wondering. The jackets he has came from British captains that he killed. His father was a tailor. Textiles are important to them. Calico Jack in today's world means fancy jacket. That's where the name came from. The name of his ship that hopefully we are looking for was the Kingston. Now, I don't expect the word Kingston to show up on any of the devices that we're using tonight. The word King would suffice. It's kind of a what color is a big red barn mentality behind that whole scenario.
Well, I got concealer.
The next location.
Kingston's in Jamaica, too. It's a city in Jamaica.
Right.
Yeah.
Is actually we have a Kingston in one of our cities here on the East Coast too.
Edward Keach ever come down? I'm sure he came through.
Yes, every once in a while we'll see things from Blackbeard. Just little subtle breadcrumbs because he did blockade the city.
Oh, did he?
Yep, he was actually looking for medicine because he had syphilis from one of his 14 wives.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
It happens.
Every once in a while we'll...
And assorted other women.
I know, right?
Did he go crazy in the end?
Probably.
I know he fought till the end, so I know that much. Well, him and his crew all had bouts of that, so he was looking for lots of medicine to get my girl.
Island girls.
In every port.
Yep. Not to mention from here too. You know, we're literally right next to the firehouse on the other side of the
Well, I
cemetery.
just got mention of illness, so
All right, where we're going next. Here's how this is going to go down. So we're going to be doing the Estes method. So Rowan, you might want to come over here because you're part of it. So we're going to take Ryan and we're going to put a blindfold on him. And he is basically going to be spouting off whatever he hears in real time. And you guys are not going to know the history until the end of the experiment.
Okay.
So hopefully this looks like a conversation. Rowan is going to be wearing a virtual reality cam and it's going to create artificial intelligent images. And it's hopefully going to be relevant to the conversation that I'm having with Ryan. So the AI piece of this is about 45% accurate. This is about 30% accurate. So 1 out of 3 chances we'll have a good session with you, but about half the images you will see are going to be relevant to that location. And that's just an average. You might see 0 images, you might get 12. The average is about 4. I would keep them under for about 10 minutes. It's the only thing of our whole night that I actually time, just because it can be overwhelming for certain people. So, and this, believe it or not, is all supposed to go to one person. So listening to that crazy mess, along with like seeing all of that, like it's too much for people, muggles like yourselves, that don't do this on a regular basis. So when my daughter and I were testing this out, she flat out said, "Dad, you cannot do this to people that don't do this on the regular." So we decided to actually separate it, and it actually works out really well. So the camera will go off to somebody else, so that way you guys can film it, and then I'll give you guys the entire. It's a very short history. It's like 5 minutes. It's not any of the lengthy stories that we've had over here. Now, when we get over there, he's going to need a few cues, so I'm going to need one of you nearby. In the event he's too loud, you're going to need. I don't think that's going to be a problem with him. You'll just tap him on the shoulder, let him know to quiet down. We're going to be near some neighbors, so we don't want to like upset them. And then when we're done, somebody will tap him on the leg. I just don't touch my guests, just so you guys know. So we're going to be walking up about 2.5 blocks. You guys know the rules. When we're in between spaces, ignore your readings, no recording. And listen in, watch your word list, turn your... Did you see how I turned that sensitivity
Karen
on?
State.
This last
Left one.
I got the state of Karens.
State of Karens.
To the left.
Yep, just about a quarter turn. There you go.
State and you got
And
Karen.
just do a quick
Yep.
restart if you don't
I
have
got
anything.
Karen.
There's 2 candles.
2 candles.
One's green, one's got a do hands like that.
I got 38.
The reason why I say for us to keep it nice and close is because I don't want to distract the other tours. A lot of times they look over like, what the heck is Nick up to now? And then they lose their business.
I can't hold this.
Henry,
You have to.
just hang on to it for me, okay? Just have a seat there.
Have a seat. So should I just go?
Oh yeah, just tell me whatever you hear in real time.
I think you should like lens wipe the actual lenses after this because
Okay.
they're kind of like blurry.
Well, I got fire again.
Henry, I got a couple of gentlemen sitting
More
here.
work class.
I'm going to ask you about your occupation. Can you tell me what your job was? I don't know what the 2 candles are. But if you can tell me what your job was, that would be fantastic.
Possible fruit. CSN.
Henry,
Cowgirl.
your occupation, please. You are not a cowgirl.
Oh, Jesse.
There's a cliff, a woman standing there in a white dress, and then like a cabin, like a Grand Canyon.
Okay. Henry,
Pink.
Henry Timrod. You can push forward and let us know what your job was, please. That would be fantastic. Before we move any further, I'm just looking for verification that you're here. This is Ryan and Rowan. See and hear whatever you want us to see and hear. Ryan, the more you shake that, the more numbers you're going to get out of it, and it's going to falsify the evidence.
Car accident.
All right. I didn't ask anything about death, but Henry, I need to know about your occupation.
You have been. By car. I want to.
Henry, your job. Is there something else you'd like to talk about? You need to give me something very specific.
TSA.
All kinds of letters.
Name on reason.
Name a reason I need to learn more about you. This is how I do it.
6. I asked for $50.
Henry, did somebody else come here with you? That's a yes or no?
Find the weasel.
Who else came here with you? Did Dr. Ladd come here with you tonight? Henry, you can use the blue box too to give us images.
Did you hear?
We're waiting to hear from you. I'm still asking about your occupation just to verify that you're here. I'm not looking for a casual conversation. We need details. Henry,
I'm in need.
see how all of this is casual? How I can't really count it as evidence?
Yeah.
I look for those specific details. Henry, do you want to tell us about your death? You tell us how you died?
Toast.
Anything for me?
It's nothing. Double-edged sword.
Henry, let's talk about your death.
You tested me.
How did I test you? I'm not really sure where that question is coming from, but your death. You were ill for most of your life. Can you tell us what illness you had? You could show us.
Sleep. Stay over.
You could show us the image. Just use the blue box. That's
I
what
have the first word this thing spelled luck. L-U-C-K.
Henry. We're really push forward. We're running out of time. Henry. Occupation. Your death.
Recognize.
Or your death. Henry, these people don't know what your occupation is, so I'm not going to give the full recognition tonight. But you were indeed.
She can.
You're the only she here. Can I ask what you do for a living?
I'm a psychologist.
I can't keep running.
I'm not asking you to run. I'm asking you to stay put and give us some answers.
Child safety.
Send me a child.
No.
Okay.
Won't you be all right?
Somebody asked that
Don't
earlier
cry.
in the box. Are you okay?
As we make it.
Expectation.
Okay, this isn't really clear. It's some kind of building with mounds of dirt or bodies or something like that.
Okay.
Just saying can happen.
There's either windows or lockers lining in what looks to be some kind of a light or a Christmas tree at the back or something like that.
Hospital?
I feel
Everything's in
silence.
black and white.
The Christmas tree makes complete sense. If anything else, out of what he just told me, the Christmas tree makes complete sense. Henry, I appreciate you showing us something about your son.
Bring me to the house.
Can you tell me how old your son was? I know that this is a touchy topic with you, but you brought it up. How old was your son before he passed? Brian, can you go back to the main, there you go, main screen, because your answer might go there too. Henry,
I'm new.
how old was your son before he passed? We're down to about 2 to 3 minutes left.
If you're doing justice,
Henry,
imagine
you want to tell us your son's name? just not getting any details. Believe it or not, a lot of people struggle by listening.
I'll buy you a house.
Buy me a house. Henry, we're gonna call this early if you're not gonna give us some details, some answers.
Lord Jesus.
I'm asking about your son. I asked about his name and how old he was.
Okay.
Okay again.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten that 2 times.
Very last.
Henry, can you give us one more image before we call it quits? I'm sure Rowan doesn't enjoy staring into space.
Who wins?
Henry, we're gonna wrap.
Most valuable client.
We're gonna wrap it up.
I want to be.
Can you give us one more image and we'll get out of your hair?
Keep your eyes open.
Rowan is. Henry, can you tell us goodnight at least? Henry,
Respond to it because
Henry going once. Henry going twice.
snappy call.
Freaking that. I thought somebody was snapping.
I was.
Were you?
Yeah.
Henry, last chance.
It
Dignity.
appears to be some kind of like a bar with drinks. So there's a table, a chair facing this way, shelves with glasses or some cups or something like that there. There's a shelf with
I want to be
a
glorified.
picture of a woman maybe, another photo, 2 people like on either side of it, I think.
Dignity.
Yes, it's about his dignity. Wanting to be glorified.
Yeah, shelves, there's like cups there.
Just stand.
Let me know when it fades away, Rowan, and then we'll call.
Alright, it's gone.
Okay. Let's go ahead and tap Ryan out. Somebody tap him on the leg for me.
Back to shade.
And then
Egg.
Rowan, go ahead and peel that off your face. Let's see what we got going on. We are good.